They had been warned. The threat faced by Aeon Station was no simple pirate raid or rogue faction. One colony after another had gone dark, entire star systems consumed by an unknown force. Now, in the cold void between distant worlds, the final stage was set. Earth, the cradle of humanity, would soon become the next battleground. For months, the human race had funneled everything it possessed into a last stand at its home system. Shipyards worked around the clock, forging new hulls. Factories switched to wartime production, churning out ordnance and vehicles. Veterans from the farthest colonies returned, battered and grim, to lend their expertise. All awaited the moment when the unknown armada would emerge from the darkness and lay siege to humanity's birthplace. But weeks had passed since the last outer colony fell, and no word arrived on the enemy's whereabouts. The tension grew, fueling both fear and anger. Fleets patrolled, officers strategized, and across Earth, from generals to schoolchildren, everyone wondered how close the end might be, and whether a miracle could avert it. In high Earth orbit, a vast array of ships waited, each bearing the insignia of the United Earth Navy. Fast frigates, hulking battleships, refitted cargo vessels retasked for combat. Every craft capable of bearing arms had been summoned. They formed a protective lattice around the planet, culminating in a newly fortified ring near the lunar naval base. Admiral Nathaniel Ward, newly appointed Supreme Commander of the United Earth Navy, stood at the observation deck window aboard ENS Aegis, Earth's most advanced command ship. It was a behemoth designed to coordinate entire fleets, bristling with both weaponry and sensor suites. Lines of worry etched Ward's brow, reflecting the uncertainty gripping Earth's defenders. Behind him, Captain Harriet Ponce, the Aegis's commanding officer, reported on the final waves of reinforcements. "Admiral, the last of the outer system corvettes have arrived. Our picket lines near Luna are fully manned. We also have interceptors stationed on the far side of Earth, in case the enemy attempts a surprise jump. We're ready." Ward nodded. "We must be. If the rumors of Aeon Station's destruction hold true, we face an enemy with unimaginable firepower." He paused, exhaling slowly. "Yet, they've vanished. No sign since the last colony fell. It's been weeks. We have to assume they're massing for a final blow." On the planet below, the brunt of civilian life struggled to continue despite a looming sense of apocalypse. Survival drills became daily occurrences, overshadowing normal routines. Factories across Africa, Eurasia, and the Americas churned out supplies, kinetic artillery shells, plasma lances, hover tanks, and drone interceptors. A subtle shift in public sentiment took hold. Fear became anger. Newscasters stoked people's fury over the silent genocide that had swept colony after colony without a single negotiation, a single formal declaration of war. Survivors who had escaped Aeon or other besieged outposts told stories of carnage that made blood boil. Major General Renata Cavazos, newly returned from a frontier assignment, captured the mood during a press briefing. "We are done cowering. These aliens, whoever they are, will find no easy prey here. Earth is not a station in the void. It is our home, and we will defend it." In the background, tanks rolled down city streets in carefully choreographed parades meant to reassure the populace, but also reminding them that the greatest battle of their time might erupt at any moment. Meanwhile, scout ships patrolled the outer solar system. Lieutenant Commander Wes Novak commanded one such corvette, ENS Trident, assigned to the Kuiper Belt's scattered zone. His orders were simple: watch, wait, and if the enemy arrived, transmit a final warning before inevitable destruction. Weeks of patrolling turned up nothing. Slowly, one by one, the last outer systems had gone silent. No signals, no distress calls, just void. Some began to hope the enemy had moved on, that the cost at Aeon Station had satisfied their bloodlust. Others felt sure the quiet was a harbinger of annihilation yet to come. That sense of dreadful anticipation settled across the entire Navy, forging a quiet tension that made every watch alarm, every flicker on the sensor array, a cause for clenched fists and racing hearts. After nearly a month of radio silence from beyond the asteroid belt, the break came swiftly. A frantic signal beamed from Saturn mining facility, home to thousands of workers and a linchpin for Earth's strategic metal supply. The cry for help echoed across all channels. "Mayday! Mayday! This is Saturn mining facility. Under attack by unknown alien ships. Request immediate reinforcement. Energy weapons. They're slicing through our outer defenses. Help us!" Within minutes, the war room on Earth erupted in chaos. Admiral Ward conferred with his senior staff, including Captain Ponce and the intelligence chief, Commander Sophia Lang, who had gleaned that the attacking ships bore the same energy signatures as those that destroyed Aeon. A newly updated scout drone confirmed visuals, multiple alien vessels, though fewer than expected. "They're not bringing the bulk of their force," commented Commander Lang, scanning the data. "Looks more like a raiding party. Possibly meant to bait us out." Admiral Ward raked a hand through his salt and pepper hair. "We can't just let Saturn fall. That station is critical for our fleet construction." From the main blockade, Ward selected the 7th Fleet for the mission, an agile but potent formation. It would detach from Earth's defensive ring to engage at Saturn. Plucking a battered but experienced group was risky, but the alternative was to send a massive contingent that might leave Earth vulnerable. Rear Admiral Helena Pierce commanded the 7th, an officer known for her iron will and strategic cunning. She had seen action skirmishing pirates near Neptune and had come out victorious against all odds. The 7th Fleet included ENS Dauntless, flagship, a heavy cruiser bristling with newly outfitted rail cannons; ENS Berlin, a destroyer specialized in precision missile strikes; ENS Resolution, a carrier with a moderate fighter wing; several frigates and corvettes to screen the larger ships. Pierce accepted the assignment stoically. "Understood, Admiral. We'll defend Saturn at all costs." Her jaw clenched. "They won't catch us off guard." As the 7th Fleet maneuvered out of formation and accelerated on a high-speed trajectory towards Saturn, the rest of Earth's forces remained on high alert. The move caused ripples of concern across the naval command. Some officers quietly questioned whether splitting the fleet was wise. After all, the main threat that devoured Aeon might yet appear in force. But the War Council's logic held. Saturn could not be left to fall without a fight. And so, the die was cast. The 7th Fleet streaked across the system, carrying Earth's hopes and an undercurrent of simmering rage at an enemy that dared to pick off their far-flung outposts. The trip from Earth to Saturn at combat speed took several days, filled with tense anticipation. Engineers aboard each ship double-checked weapons, recalibrated targeting systems, and prepared for emergency repairs. Pilots of the Resolution's fighter wing ran full simulations on the alien craft's maneuvers, gleaned from partial data of Aeon Station's final stand. Commander Anton Drake, executive officer of the Dauntless, looked over damage control protocols with grim focus. "We have to be ready for energy weapon hits that can melt through armor plating. Our new reactive hull plating is untested." Rear Admiral Pierce, overhearing, gave a tight nod. "We'll have to test it in the only way that matters. Combat." As the 7th Fleet neared Jupiter's orbit, glimpses of the silent gas giant loomed in the distance. The swirling reds and browns offered a haunting backdrop. The memory of Aeon's destruction, though far away in both time and space, weighed heavily on every crew member's mind. Not a day passed without mention of the horrific images from that station's last broadcast. Some of the younger sailors, newly minted ensigns, asked their superiors, why would they do this to us? But no answers came. The alien attackers had sent no demands, no warnings, just annihilation. The sense of injustice and bitterness festered, fueling a cold determination to strike back. In the Dauntless's lower decks, mood was tense. Sailors rummaged for rumors about what the officers knew. Some whispered that the aliens were unstoppable, advanced beyond measure. Others insisted the Seventh Fleet carried newly designed weapons that might turn the tide. The truth was murky, and speculation only fed the undercurrent of dread. Petty Officer Mira Alexander, assigned to the Dauntless's port battery array, confided in her bunkmate, "I keep dreaming about Aeon. People screaming as hulls tore open. I can't get it out of my head." Her bunkmate, Petty Officer Davids, clenched his fists. "I know, but I'll die before I let them do that here. We owe that much to everyone who's been lost." In that uneasy mix of fear, anger, and determination, the Seventh Fleet marched onward, unknowing that their next challenge lurked closer than they realized. 3 days after departing Earth, the Seventh Fleet approached Jupiter's gravitational influence. An alarm tore through the Dauntless's bridge. Multiple FTL signatures spiked on sensors. Rear Admiral Pierce tensed at the tactical display. "They've arrived out of nowhere," she barked. "All ships, battle stations." Within minutes, a swarm of alien vessels emerged from behind the gas giant. This was no mere scouting party. Sensor sweeps counted at least 24 ships, including half a dozen cruisers reminiscent of the Aeon devastation footage. "They're trying to cut us off before we can reach Saturn," Commander Drake said under his breath. Despite being outnumbered, the Seventh Fleet had the advantage of training, discipline, and advanced sensor gear. Pierce orchestrated a rapid response. The Berlin unleashed a torrent of guided missiles, forcing the alien cruisers to break formation. Frigates like ENS Calypso swooped in to engage smaller alien corvettes, armed with newly developed plasma lance turrets. The Dauntless took center stage, launching heavy railgun slugs that glowed with fiery trajectories. Alien beams sliced through the darkness, scorching hulls and igniting pockets of atmosphere. The Resolution's fighter squadrons darted in synchronized waves, picking off enemy gunboats that threatened the capital ship's flanks. The ambush had turned into a swirling battlefield. For an hour, the two forces clashed in a deadly waltz of missiles, lasers, and cannon fire. Several human corvettes took catastrophic hits, ripping open compartments and casting them into silent oblivion. The Berlin sustained major deck damage when an alien frigate rammed its aft section. Yet the Seventh Fleet refused to break. Rear Admiral Pierce kept communication lines open and calm, rotating damaged ships to the rear while fresh ones took the front. The newly installed reactive hull plating proved resilient, absorbing some energy blasts that would have otherwise gutted entire sections. Waves of bitter anger and heartbreak mingled in the hearts of the Seventh's sailors as they witnessed corvette after corvette burning. That anger fueled them. These aliens could be hurt, and every lost comrade demanded vengeance. Eventually, battered alien vessels began to withdraw. The Dauntless and her sister ships pressed the advantage, harrying the retreating enemy. 2 alien cruisers were destroyed outright by concentrated railgun salvos. Others vanished into FTL with wounded hulls. Silence descended on the battlefield, leaving behind smoking wreckage, drifting corpses, and shattered hulls. The Seventh Fleet had prevailed, miraculously, but at a cost. 3 corvettes lost entirely, hundreds dead, hundreds more injured. The Berlin heavily damaged, her engines sputtering. Commander Drake surveyed the casualty reports with haunted eyes. We actually beat them." Rear Admiral Pierce's jaw was set. "We did, but Saturn still needs us." She signaled the battered formation. "Minimal repairs en route. We must move on." In the wake of the ambush, the Seventh Fleet limped forward, each ship bearing fresh scars from the intense fighting. Anger smoldered beneath every dented bulkhead, a fury directed at the foe that dared to crush Earth's distant colonies. The victory felt hollow, overshadowed by the knowledge that Saturn might already be lost. As the battered Seventh Fleet finally neared Saturn, their comm arrays lit up with a dire message from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Ward's voice was somber. "Saturn mining facility has fallen. Defensive turrets are offline. Station life support failing. The enemy has occupied the structure. Repeat, Station lost. A wave of frustration hit the 7th Fleet's bridges. They had fought and bled to free the station, only to find it had already fallen. The pain stoked an even deeper anger, the knowledge that once again humanity was too late to save its own. The disheartened ships ventured closer to see if any survivors could be retrieved. What they found was a shell of twisted metal, broken hull compartments, entire sections vented to space. Occasional flashes indicated small fires flickering within shattered corridors. Alien silhouettes darted about, apparently securing the facility. Lieutenant Orlova, a sensor tech aboard the Calypso, whispered, "I'm picking up faint life signs, maybe a few pockets of survivors." Rear Admiral Pierce weighed the prospect of a rescue operation. With the Berlin partially crippled and half the fleet damaged, a protracted boarding campaign seemed suicidal. The War Council's final directive left no room for illusions. If the station is compromised, prioritize preserving your ships. Ultimately, Pierce ordered the 7th Fleet to break off. "We can't afford to lose more ships in a hopeless fight. Our orders are to fall back and guard Mars." She paused, voice shaking with rage. "But I promise you this, the scum who did this, they will pay." With heavy hearts and heavier anger, the 7th Fleet turned away from Saturn's rings. Not even the lingering presence of a few alien craft goaded them into a reckless fight. They had a new assignment: reinforce the line near Mars, forming a buffer zone before Earth. The tension aboard each ship was palpable. The Marines, eager for payback, had to stow their fury. Pilots cursed the cold reality that no cavalry had come in time to save Saturn. Meanwhile, engineers worked themselves ragged, patching hull breaches and rearming the battered vessels for the next bout of combat. Days into the journey back toward Mars, the 7th Fleet witnessed a disturbing phenomenon. Earth Defense Command reported that outer system patrol ships had stopped checking in. One after another, corvettes in the Kuiper Belt fell silent, as did the drones monitoring Neptune and Uranus. Even spy satellites in the asteroid belt provided only static. "Something is systematically wiping out our eyes and ears," Admiral Ward warned in a general broadcast. "Expect the final invasion soon." At Earth, the war room buzzed with frantic strategy sessions. Captain Harriet Ponce led daily updates on the planetary defense grid, instructing ground forces to heighten readiness. Tanks, artillery, anti-air lasers, everything was readied for a potential ground incursion. The public's mood shifted from anxious vigilance to raw desperation. Protests broke out, demanding to know why the government hadn't launched a more powerful preemptive strike. Others prayed or retreated to subterranean bunkers. The planet's orbit bristled with naval might, but the star charts suggested a looming tide. At last, the 7th Fleet limped into formation near Mars, where a smaller defense flotilla stood watch. Commodore Alan Reese, overseeing Martian security, greeted Rear Admiral Pierce's ships with relief. "We feared you'd been lost at Saturn." Pierce's expression remained tight. "We nearly were. We lost the station anyway. Now we wait. Word is, Earth expects the main attack soon." So they settled into a patrol pattern around Mars, battered but resolute. Crews cycled shifts to rest, medbays worked overtime to treat the wounded, and the simmering anger across the fleet turned into a smouldering thirst for revenge. One late evening, Earth's advanced sensor net finally pieced together fragmented signals from the outer system. The resulting analysis chilled every soul who saw it, an armada of alien vessels spread out across the solar plane like an insect swarm. Not one massive wedge, but dozens upon dozens of smaller groups, each poised to converge on Earth from different angles. In the war room, Admiral Ward's jaw clenched as the visual illuminated giant star charts. "They aren't hitting us head-on. They're circling, caging us in." Commander Lang expanded the chart, highlighting new contacts appearing every hour. "Our best guess is hundreds of ships, possibly more, each group timed to arrive near Earth in a coordinated encirclement." With the threat laid bare, Earth's defenders snapped into action. naval assets locked into tight orbital patterns. Ground forces across every continent readied themselves. Tanks rumbled in staging areas. Mechs loaded. Infantry took positions in labyrinthine bunkers. Evacuation protocols for key cities began, though resources were limited. Even more dangerously, the War Council had authorized the use of prototypes, advanced rail cannons on the Moon, a series of newly minted orbital drones, and a handful of antimatter warheads. The possibility of planetary collateral damage was overshadowed by the looming threat of total annihilation. Back at Mars orbit, the 7th Fleet received orders from Admiral Ward. "We suspect the strike is imminent. As soon as we confirm their approach, we need you back here, Admiral Pierce. No more diversions. Earth is the final line." Pierce acknowledged. "Our hull repairs are nearly complete. We'll burn at maximum speed the moment you call." Across the battered decks of the Dauntless, Berlin, and Resolution, the mood was grim. They had come too late to save Saturn. Would they arrive in time to save Earth? Within hours of the new sensor data, the first alien vessels appeared on Earth's outskirts. Picket ships near the Moon triggered alarms. "Contact! Multiple bogies dropping out of FTL, range 150,000 kilometers, closing fast." In a heartbeat, Earth's orbital fleets braced for combat. Admiral Ward ordered the entire ring to hold formation. This was not the time for reckless flanking. Cohesion would be the key. Then more signals arrived. More ships blinked into real space near Earth's L4 and L5 Lagrange points. Near the far side of the Moon, above the poles, the swarm was real, pincering Earth from every angle. A hush of awe and dread settled over the war room as red icons flooded the tactical display. "Our intelligence was right," Captain Ponce muttered. "They're enveloping us." In mere minutes, the void around Earth teemed with enemy activity, each vector bristling with alien beams and missiles. Earth's defensive platforms opened fire, arcs of brilliant coilgun tracers lancing into the blackness. The naval engagement erupted with terrifying speed. Earth's capital ships unleashed coordinated volleys, focusing on any cluster that drifted too close. The aliens responded in kind, hammering at the defenders with scorching energy beams that crackled through the darkness. Explosions lit up Earth's sky like a macabre fireworks show. Hulks of torn warships drifted, some colliding with each other or disintegrating upon atmospheric contact. Yet the defenders adhered to a disciplined strategy: never break formation, never chase. They forced the aliens into kill zones, covered by overlapping fields of fire. It seemed to work. Hours of brutal fighting passed, with no decisive break in Earth's ring. The alien ships lost large numbers, peppered by missiles and rail slugs. But the swarm had infinite resilience. Waves of smaller corvettes took suicidal runs, crashing into certain ships to open holes. And into those holes poured alien dropships by the hundreds. Despite Earth's best efforts, enough alien troop transports broke through. Streaking like flaming comets, they pierced the atmosphere. Anti-air defenses across all continents roared, lasers slicing many dropships in half mid-descent, but not all. In seconds, massive columns of black smoke dotted Earth's surface, from the American heartlands to the Asian steppes, from African savannas to European hillsides. General Cavazos oversaw the North American theatre. Her lines had pre-positioned tanks and artillery, but nothing quite prepared them for the variety of alien machines that lumbered out of each drop craft. Walkers with segmented limbs, hover drones spitting plasma bursts, and troopers in advanced exoskeletons. "Focus fire! Hit the big walkers first!" Cavazos shouted over comms. Her tanks rumbled forward, their rail cannons hammering the unsuspecting invaders. Across the planet, a kaleidoscope of battles erupted. Mechs stomping through city ruins, fighter jets dogfighting alien drones in stormy skies, soldiers pinned in collapsed highways. Destruction multiplied. Fires raged uncontrollably in some urban centers. Civilian death tolls soared, adding to the defenders' fury. At times, Earth's armies gained ground. In other places, the aliens carved out footholds, raising spire-like structures that bristled with odd energies. It was a war on two fronts. Above the clouds, Earth's navy clashed with an unrelenting swarm. On the ground, savage firefights left entire regions battered. Yet the flame of desperation propelled Earth's fighters. They refused to consider the notion of surrender. Anger, heartbreak, and defiance melded into a single cause: keep Earth breathing another day. All this time, the 7th Fleet sped toward Earth from Mars' orbit. Admiral Ward's urgent transmission had come through. The battle has begun. Get here, now. Repaired engines roared. The battered ships flew at dangerous speeds, risking meltdown to arrive in time. Every minute of delay meant more Earthships destroyed, more cities ablaze. Rear Admiral Pierce stood on the Dauntless's bridge, tracking real-time telemetry from Earth. Thousands of enemy ships in orbit. We'll be diving straight into a war zone. Commander Drake's face looked pale, but resolute. We're ready to do our part, Admiral. Saturn was lost. Let's not lose Earth. The rest of the fleet's captains echoed that sentiment, each channeling the fury that had stewed since Saturn's fall. They would pay back the aliens in blood. Suddenly, the Dauntless's comma ray flickered. A new signal forced itself onto the channel, garbled in a multitude of Earth languages. Do not approach Earth. Danger. We beg you. Turn away. We can help. Coordinates. Coalition. Do not. Pierce scowled. That's not from our people, and it's not from the invaders. She opened a channel, voice tight. Identify yourself. A stutter of static, then a request for video call. The Dauntless's bridge crew hesitated. Drake gave the nod, and the screen resolved into an image that made the humans recoil in shock. On the display stood a slender alien figure, distinctly different from the monstrous foes that had ravaged Aeon and Saturn. With elongated limbs and large reflective eyes, it wore a device that seemed to scramble its words into rough English. Please, we are not the ones who destroy your worlds. We are the Coalition. Many species, threatened by them. We ask, you do not return to Earth. Rear Admiral Pierce bristled, her face twisting in anger. Our planet is under attack as we speak. Who are you to demand we abandon it? The alien lowered its gaze. You cannot help them now. If you charge in, you die. We need you for a greater plan, a chance to end them all. Pierce killed the external feed, turning to her staff. This is insane. The idea we'd leave Earth to burn is unthinkable. Commander Drake looked torn. But if they have some advanced knowledge, could they tip the scales in our favor? On the Dauntless's lower decks, crew members read the message with shock. Some cursed, calling it a trap. Others, haunted by Saturn's fiasco, wondered if Earth might already be doomed. The alien transmission resumed, as though sensing the crew's indecision. We have technology, allies, all threatened by the same enemy. If you join us, we can strike at their home. If not, you die with your world. Possibly. No chance remains. Pierce's hand clenched around the console. She could see on a secondary screen the devastation of Earth. Countless casualties, unstoppable waves of alien ships. Perhaps there truly was no saving it outright. Could forging an alliance with these strangers bring a broader reprieve? But the anger in her chest burned. How could she not attempt to save her home? She demanded, "Send us your coordinates. We'll see if you speak truth." Seconds later, star data scrolled across the screen. The alien repeated, "Come. Now we help each other, or we fall alone." Rear Admiral Pierce stared hard at the swirling star map. If the 7th Fleet continued to Earth, they would dive into an inferno. Possibly they might save a few lives, but it was equally possible they'd be lost in the chaos. barely making a dent in the unstoppable armada. The Seventh Fleet was strong, but not that strong. Commander Drake, along with the other captains, convened in a private holo conference. They wrestled with guilt, fury, heartbreak, and logic. Earth was their home. But if this strange coalition had a method to truly end the threat, might that ultimately be Earth's best chance? Each captain spoke. Captain Rossi of the Berlin. I'd rather die than abandon Earth, but we saw how powerful they were at Aeon, and we barely survived Jupiter's ambush. Captain De Silva of the Resolution. If these new aliens have a plan to defeat our enemy, that might be Earth's only hope. Right now, it's pure slaughter. Commander Drake. Earth's defenders are formidable. They might hold out long enough for us to return with something bigger. Silence descended. All eyes fell on Rear Admiral Pierce. Pierce closed her eyes, remembering the fall of Saturn, the charred remains of Aeon, the countless transmissions from Earth's war room detailing unstoppable waves of destruction. She tasted fury on her tongue. All right, she finally said. We will do as they ask. We'll get these coordinates, see what they offer. If it's a trap, we'll know soon enough. If not, maybe we can strike back in a way that really counts. No one cheered. The heartbreak was too deep. But a grim acceptance settled in. Pierce opened a channel to Earth, summarizing the situation. Then she gave the helm an order that felt like betrayal. Plot a course out of Sol. In the final hours of Earth's darkest battle, Admiral Ward and the battered defenders continued to fight, refusing to surrender their home to the alien tide. The war room reeled from news of ground forces overrun in certain regions, while others held strong. Flames devoured entire landscapes, but still the banner of Earth's defiance flew high. None of them knew that the Seventh Fleet, once a prized sword in Earth's arsenal, had altered course and departed the Sol system altogether, lured by the faint promise of a coalition that might deliver a final victory over the seemingly invincible foe. Would Earth's defenders endure long enough for such reinforcements to matter? Could the Seventh Fleet truly find allies in the stars that could match the unstoppable tide? That question hovered in the air like the acrid smoke rising from Earth's many battlefields, a question that only time would answer. For now, Earth burned, and the Seventh Fleet soared into the void, angry, desperate, determined to forge a new path towards salvation or die trying.